very long sort of recovery, that's all right, trying to find different physios telling me different things about, strengthen this bit, strengthen that bit, but yeah, so I'm very glad that I'm very lucky to have found Victoria, who's sort of just really helped, just from sort of looking at the way I walked, sort of that, I can sort some things out straight away for you there. And it's been very difficult, and it's been really strange sort of aligning myself with kind of emotional alignment as well, and sort of just some of the sessions just would either make me suddenly really upset, or I couldn't work out where it was coming from. But I've come a long way. I think I've got a long way to go, but massive improvement. I mean, I walked to the beach twice this weekend, which is a good sort of half-hour walk, and back with no pain at all, which just being able to do something simple like that is just so lovely.
Yeah. And we're doing this all the time, aren't we? It's just a process of bringing people home to their correct alignment, and everyone has a different pace. You're a friend of Lauren's, aren't you, Karen?
Yes, and I've been trying to go through the scrolling to see when your first course is. I couldn't figure out the times. I finally figured out the times now.
Yeah. I missed a really important meeting today due to time zone confusion, so I totally get it. Anyway, okay, so I am going to run this session, and we are going to get you all standing up. So as I always say, if you get to a point for any reason where anything feels uncomfortable, just sit yourself down and tune into your body from a sitting down position. I would say that's more for Kelly, obviously always a big one for you. Hannah, I'm not sure if it's an issue for you, but check in with it. And just really tune in. Moving up to the shoulders, it takes us time to get there, right? Because there's no point jumping forward. So as the weeks go on, we don't necessarily spend as much time on the area that is the theme of the week, because it really is it's not just about that area, it's about the support of every other structure, coming up to show up to support that area. Okay, and that's so important, because the body is basically just a balancing act. It's one extraordinary 3D balancing act going on, backwards and forwards, kind of up and down, sideways and rotating. So really what we'll do is we'll come up and we'll see how your shoulders are doing, connecting with the support of everything below them. And we'll just check out a little bit of 3D kind of awareness and positioning of them when we get there. Okay? All right, so let's do this. Okay. All right, so when you stand, please make sure that your feet are nicely positioned, so hip width apart. And when we say hip width, we don't mean out like the edge of our hips. Hip width is actually kind of the middle of our thighs. So if you look at my leggings, you'll see that actually this beautiful ball and socket joint comes in kind of the midpoint of the flesh of your thighs. It comes in about here. So we want your knees underneath that, and we want your heels underneath that. And then what we don't want you kind of leaning forwards. If you look at the door frame, we don't want that, and we don't want you too much back on your heels. We want you would just be parallel with a door frame or a bookshelf, whatever it is that you can line yourself up with. Okay? So feel into that, and then we want you to feel into the foot tripod. Sorry, Henry, I did ask you to get it, and then I just moved on. The foot tripod is the point in front of the big toe, and the point in front of the little toe, and the outside, more of the outside to the center of your heel than the inside. We do not want anyone allowing their body weight to sink down on the inside of the heels. Okay, so just really feeling the connection of those bony structures. and allowing yourself to just settle into that. And you may want to let from the front of your ankles, your whole body just lean forward slightly to feel how that puts more pressure on the front of your feet. You may want to rock back slightly to feel how that puts more pressure on the back of your heels. And then just find the midpoint. Okay. And then I'd like you just to touch your belly button, and if 12 o'clock was in front of you on a clock face, just become really clear, ideally by feeling into it. You shouldn't need to look, but where do you feel that your belly button is pointing to? Is it direct at 12 o'clock, or is it more at a couple of minutes before or after? And if it's not direct, then just move the belly button to 12 o'clock and notice if you feel how that changes the positioning or the center of mass, the pressure going down into your ankles through your legs. And then bringing your attention into your right foot, where you have 26 bones, all of them different sizes, different shapes. And I'd like you to have the intention that your weight is going down your left leg, keeping the knee completely straight, and just let the right leg and the right foot just sink into the ground with less weight going through. And have a sense that all the soft tissues, the connective tissues, the muscles, the skin, everything in the right foot can just soften and spread and feel really supported by the ground. And then just allow that right knee to fold. So it's going to bend forward, but not so much that it brings the heel off the ground. And just feel the closing in the front of the right ankle, the back of the right knee. And then straightening that right knee. Just as you straighten it, can you feel how the bottom heads of the lower leg bones are pushing down, pushing the heel into the ground, whilst the top heads of the lower leg bones are pushing the knee upwards. And then again, allowing the right knee to fold, to soften, just having a real sense of those lower leg bones. You've got the tibia and the fibula, and they, as your knee folds, they're just sinking down towards the foot. And then straightening the knee again, really feeling the hardness of the heel pushing into the ground as the lower leg bones fold back upwards. And just feel the top heads of those lower leg bones connecting with the thigh bone. And then folding the knee again. This time I want you to feel those lower leg bones, the top heads, pulling the thigh bone down with them. There's no way those lower leg bones can sink down without taking the thigh bone. And then straightening the knee, feeling the heel pushing into the ground whilst those bones fold back up, pushing the thigh bone upwards, and just starting to connect with how that connects into your groin and the base of your pelvis on the right-hand side. And then folding again, just letting the knee fold down. This time I want you to really be aware of how the thigh bone is dropping down with that knee. And I want you to think more about what's going on in the base of your pelvis. And as you straighten that right knee, just really now feel the mechanics very slowly in the base of the right-hand side of the pelvis, and how the thigh bone, the ball and socket joint, is pushing up the pelvis. Feel the support of that coming from the ground up through the body on the right-hand side. Let's do that one more time on the right-hand side, bending the knee, feeling the lower leg bones folding forwards, helping to spread and compress the 26 bones in the feet. whilst those lower leg bones are also pulling down the thigh bone, which is activating and pulling down the right side of the pelvis. Then straightening that knee, feeling the heel being pushed into the ground whilst the thigh bone's being pushed upwards and the pelvis is also being pushed upwards, fully extending the knee and feeling the pelvis beautifully supported on the right hand side. Then keep the weight of your body in the right hand leg and then bring your focus to your left foot. And just allow those 26 bones in the left foot to spread. Allow all the soft tissues, the connective tissue, all the little muscles. There are 33 joints in there. Just have a moment of appreciation for that part of your body which is supporting you all of the time, every step you take. And then keeping most of your weight in the right hand leg with the right knee fully extended, just let the left knee fold and bend and feel those lower leg bones folding down towards the left foot. Feel the pressure in the left foot changing as the knee bends, and then straightening that left knee, really feeling the strength and power of the solid bones. You'll feel the heel pushing down into the ground as the knee fully extends. And bending that left knee again, feel the lower leg bones, the tibia, the fibula, folding down, pulling the thigh bone with them. And again, straightening that knee, feeling the lower leg bones pushing into the heel whilst also pushing that thigh bone upwards. This beautiful relationship of pushing in two directions at once, the mechanics of how that works. And then bending the knee again, letting the knee fold down, feeling how the lower leg bones are pulling the thigh bone, the femur, and how then the femur is just pulling down the left side of the pelvis at the base. And then straightening that knee, feeling that thigh bone being pushed upwards, pushing the left side of the pelvis upwards. We'll do that one more time, folding the left knee, feeling the lower leg bones folding down, pulling the thigh bone, pulling the pelvis. And then really straightening that left knee, feeling the bones pushing into the ground whilst they push the thigh bone upwards, which pushes the pelvis back and up. And then with both knees straight, just check where the pressure is in your feet again. And then I would like you to think about that amazing pelvic bowl that you have. It's containing so many organs and systems, and just allow the pelvic bowl very gently to rock backwards and forwards on those hip joints. So just imagine you've got those thigh bones with those beautiful ball and socket joints, and all we want is the socket in the base of the pelvis to very gently, and it's a small movement, and you even feel that connection of the sockets of the base of the pelvis just rocking on the heads of those thigh bones, just rocking backwards and forwards. And then I want you to just tuck your bottom under, tuck the tailbone under, and have it in a really nice neutral or slightly engaged place. So the tailbone is, if you send the tailbone backwards, that's an anterior tilt. So if you send it back towards 6 o'clock, and then if you tuck it under, it's as if it's traveling under and slightly forwards towards 12 o'clock, the coccyx, the tailbone. And I'd like you to find neutral, where it's almost like the tailbone is facing the ground, like a pendulum, just being pulled down. And then I would invite you to very slightly bend your right knee. And this time I want you to become aware of how, as you bend the right knee, it very slightly opens up the back of your pelvis on the right hand side on one side of the sacrum, and then just straightening that right knee. Can you feel how it just pushes the area at the back of the pelvis up? And that is where the pelvis and the spine meet in the sacrum. Do that one more time, just bending the right knee. And as you bend it, feel a kind of spreading, opening, flattening at the right back of the right hand side of the pelvis. The more you bend the knee, the more it will pull the back of the pelvis down and forward. And then straighten that right knee and just feel the back of the pelvis being just propped back up again. And then let's do this on the left hand side. So just bending the left knee, feeling a kind of release, let go at the base of the left hand side of the pelvis, flattening, and then straightening that left knee. Then can you connect with how the left hand side of the pelvis just kind of comes and up and supports the base of the left side of the spine. Do that one more time. Just bending the left leg, really feeling that opening, flattening on the left hand side of the back of the pelvis. And as you straighten the left knee, it's just kind of pushing up, compressing, creating more of an anterior tilt, encouraging the tailbone just to travel back slightly. And then keeping those two sides of the pelvis still and inactive, I would invite you to just think about your sacrum and the base of the spine as if it really is your tail. And can you just send your tail backwards and forwards, keeping your legs and your knees still, keeping the left and right side of your pelvis still, and it really is just your spine in the back of your pelvis that can just do some very small movements, traveling backwards and forwards. And as you send the tailbone backwards towards 6 o'clock, I'd like you to feel how that creates an arch in your back, which will actually travel up through your lumbar vertebrae in your lower back. And then send the tailbone down and under, and you should feel the lumbar vertebrae flattening, spreading. You may feel your belly muscles engaging. And then send the tailbone back again and really feel the arch coming in your back and sending the tailbone back as far as it will go. Can you feel how that also has an impact of slightly lifting the rib cage? And then as you send the tailbone back down again, sending it down, down, and as if the coccyx is going to point underneath and then forwards. Can you feel how that softens and almost begins to flex the spine, and could almost in your diaphragm, in front of your rib cage, there's a bit of a collapse. And then as you send the tailbone backwards again, traveling to 6 o'clock, feel the lumbars extending the back of the spine, and maybe the area around your diaphragm, your solar plexus, begins to open. Keep your head level so your eyes wouldn't be moving up or down. And just get the tailbone to travel under and forwards, and notice how that impacts and flexes the spine. You get the collapse and kind of crush around your diaphragm and solar plexus. And then as you send the tailbone back, you have the extended spine, the curve in your lower back, and the rib cage lifts. And I want you to do this a couple more times, but I want you to bring your attention now as you send the tailbone traveling under, just bring your attention to your shoulder area and to your arms hanging. And as the tailbone tucks under, just have a sense, what's your right arm doing? Where's it hanging? What's your left arm doing? Where's it hanging? And then sending the tailbone backwards towards 6 o'clock. Again, what happens to your shoulders, which are balancing on the top of the rib cage when the lower back arches? Keeping your eyes, even if they're shut, as if they're on the horizon. And then tucking the tailbone under. Again, the back flexes. And maybe you can feel how it's as if your arms are just hanging at the top of a body that has the capacity to flex and extend. They're connected and so impacted by what's happening with the spine as it flexes and extends. And as the rib cage, when you arch the back, when the tailbone goes backwards, the front of the rib cage rises a bit. You feel how the arms can just float and hang, weightless. And as you tuck the tailbone under, you'll feel the rib cage kind of sinking down at the front. And can you feel how maybe the arms could become heavier? They're kind of hanging. They might just feel a bit more like weights weighing you down. And then as you send the tailbone backwards again, you get the arch in your back. Can you feel how the shoulders are just kind of sent back? And they may feel far more supported or not, whatever is present for you. Then just bring your tailbone to a neutral place. And bring your attention to your right arm. And if the palm of your arm was a hand in a clock face facing your body, is the hand at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock? Where is it facing your body from? And then bring your attention to your left hand. And if your left hand and arm was a hand of a clock face, where is it hanging? Is it at 3 o'clock? Sorry, at 9 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Just notice where it feels like your arms are in that clock face. And if they don't feel like they're there, I would like to encourage you first with your right hand to just bring it round to 3 o'clock. And with your left hand to bring it to where 9 o'clock would be. And notice when you do that, does that have a real impact on your shoulders? Does it change what's normal for you? And then I'd like you to notice the distance you feel you have between the palm of your right hand, hopefully that's facing towards your body and your body. Is it touching the side of your body or is it hanging? And just probably your thumb is facing forwards. Just lightly rotate the wrist of your right hand. And just as you rotate it, keeping your elbow completely straight, just notice, can you feel how that impacts your shoulder joint and your shoulder blade? Just very slowly, can you feel it kind of switching on the shoulder blade? As you rotate the wrist out, your thumb probably going to 4 or 5 o'clock. And then rotate the wrist, the right wrist very slowly back inwards as far as it will go, keeping the fingers of the hands pointing to the floor. And just notice as you rotate that wrist in, can you feel a lovely kind of winging spreading in the shoulder blade at the back of your rib cage? And do that one more time, just rotating the wrist out very softly. And as you do it, can you feel what's happening in the mechanics? Keep the elbow straight. What's happening in the mechanics of the shoulder as you rotate that hand out, keeping the fingers facing the floor, and then rotating back in. Again, can you feel that beautiful connection into the shoulder joint, the shoulder blade, and also to a point how it impacts the neck? And then just bring that hand again, so the thumb would probably be pointing to 12 o'clock. Just see how that feels for a moment, being still. Your shoulders feeling. Maybe just notice the space between your right shoulder and your right ear, and what that feels like. And then I'd invite you to bring your attention to the space between your left shoulder and your left ear, and what that feels like before we explore the left. Can you feel a real difference now in the spaces on either side at the top of your shoulders? And then bringing your attention to your left hand. Again, hopefully the thumb is kind of pointing towards 12 o'clock. And just notice the hand, notice the arm, notice the armpit. Do you feel like you've got more tightness? Or does it feel closer to the left-hand side of your body than your right arm feels to the right-hand side of your body? And then just allow the left wrist to just rotate very softly, keeping the fingers pointing to the floor. Keep the fingers straight. Make sure the elbows engage. And as you rotate the left wrist, just feel how that moves the shoulder joint. And then hopefully the shoulder blade on the left, engaging them. And then rotate the left wrist all the way in, so the thumb comes back in and turns towards the body and probably going backwards very slowly, and seeing how that plays out in the shoulder blade. Spreading, winging, opening at the top of the back of the rib cage on the left. And then rotating that wrist again, the left wrist, so the thumb comes, so it's pointing to 12 o'clock and then around to 9 o'clock, and really feeling how that activates the shoulder joint and activates the shoulder blade, so long as you keep the fingers pointing to the floor. And then bringing the wrist again, rotating it all the way around towards the body, going back, and really feeling how this just gives your shoulder an opportunity to experience the mechanics of the shoulder joint and the shoulder blade. And then just bring that left hand back to neutral with the left thumb facing 12. And now again, just feel into the space between the top of your left shoulder and the base of your left ear, and the top of your right shoulder and the base of your right ear. Just invite you to think about where your breastbone is facing in the clock face. Is it facing 12 o'clock, or does it feel more like it might be facing towards 11 or 1? And just bring that breastbone to 12 o'clock. And then notice, where do you feel your arms are now? Where is your right arm on the clock face? Is it at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock? And where is your left arm on that clock face? Is it at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock? And if both arms are not at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, just then again correct them so that they are. And then just take a couple of lovely breaths. So breathing in. As you breathe in, can you feel how that plays into the shoulder blades at the top of the back of the rib cage and the shoulder joints? And just let that breath just release itself. Can you feel how that impacts the arms? Breathing in, can you feel a very slight impact on the bones of the rib cage and the bones of the arms, the joints? And breathing out, just allowing the breath to just fall out of your body. Can you feel how that impacts the movement of the rib cage and the movement of the bones and joints in the arms? And this is going on all the time. There are these little hinges dependent on internal movement and function. And then when you're ready, just traveling back down through the rib cage, down through the spine. You could maybe just a couple of times send your tailbone backwards and then forwards, bringing yourself back down through that beautiful ladder of the vertebrae in the spine, one by one. And then bringing your attention to the base of the spine at the back of the pelvis. Again, just possibly bending the right knee and straightening it, checking in the sacrum area, bending the left knee and straightening it, really feeling the sacrum. Then allowing the pelvis to just rock backwards and forwards on those beautiful hip joints of the top of the thighs. And then coming back down through the thigh bones, through the lower leg bones, into those incredible 26 bones in both feet, which have been supporting you and holding you up with their incredible connection with the ground. And then when you're ready, just opening your eyes, looking at what's in front of you at 12 o'clock, something, and right there, its shape and its color. And then something to the side of you at 3 o'clock, its shape, its color, really coming back into the room. Something at 9 o'clock, its shape, its color. And then rubbing those hands together, giving them a good rub. Maybe really giving your shoulders and your arms a bit of love, a lovely stroke, and being aware that they're there, always doing stuff. Our hands are always doing stuff, aren't they? What an incredible part of our body that is. Okay, and then when you're ready, let's just come back together and see how that was for you. Sorry if you can hear my dog barking. He's got a job to do. Penny, how was that for you? Because we know your upper body is a work in progress, an improved work in progress, but how's it going?
Yeah, it was no, it was nice. I mean, it's I always feel quite good going through the motion because I feel like I get sturdier and sturdier as you kind of work upwards. I did have to sort of sit down at one point, which I always feel really annoyed at myself about because I think I go so far and then it's like, oh, now I've got to sit down. But then I did pull myself back up after a bit. Yeah, no, it felt really good. I tell you what, I was very conscious because I've just been learning about the jaw. I was very conscious of what I was doing with my tongue and my mouth and was trying to alleviate because I do have some neck ache. And so I was trying to alleviate it by pulling my head back, being mindful of where my shoulders were, and then adjusting the position of my jaw. And so that was quite interesting because I just felt I was more mindful of other things because of what I've been learning. But yeah, I mean, generally, I just find that so relaxing and beneficial to go through that sort of process. So thank you. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's great, isn't it? Karen, how was that for you, considering shoulder is a thing?
I felt pretty good going in. I mean, I had a little bit on my shoulder, but not too bad. And when we were doing the right leg going down to the pelvis, I mean, to the knee bending a little, I had to pull in my lower back. So now my lower back bothers me a little bit. I could feel it moving. And then when you're doing the right arm, it was pulling my left shoulder. Like I could almost feel like a string going from up here all the way to my neck was being pulled, and I was having pain in here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it's really interesting because we do love you to start at the beginning and really get the foundation. You know, it is an ethical dilemma that we have with these drop-ins, is whether for some people we're giving them too much information too quickly because the foundation is where you need the work initially. So it's really interesting, isn't it? That's something, and I can see stuff already. I mean, I'm sure other people, you know, I've got trainees in this group. So, you know, we've got stuff going on in rotation. We've got stuff going on in what we call frontal plane, your head. There are so many different things going on. But what I would suggest you do is send me a slow-mo video of yourself walking, and then I'm very happy for it to hop on a Zoom with you and show you what's going on, Karen, in your body.
But at least I can see what you're doing and how much I it is affecting me, and that I do need
Yeah.
the work. But it was very, very enlightening for me to
Yeah,
see
yeah,
it.
yeah. And with your shoulders though, could you feel how even a small movement of your wrist plays into the shoulder? Could you feel that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I could.
And could you feel how, I mean, could everyone feel that in terms of if your arms were hands of a clock, who showed up initially with 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock? Who had that? No one, right? Oh, Claire, you had it. Yeah, Claire's working very, very hard to have that. Aren't you? Anya, how was it for you?
It wasn't very relaxing. I think I probably was trying too hard.
Okay.
I mean, it's I really like dropping the knees down. That's something that I get quite a lot of sensation out of in terms of feeling both. Well, actually, everything, most of what you were describing, I could relate to. But I think I'm looking forward to our Zoom in a couple of days. It is just, I can't decide whether the discomfort I'm feeling, whether it is me trying too hard or the engagement. Is that the engagement or am I trying too hard? So I'm looking forward to figuring that out.
Okay, well, we're going to. I'm so looking forward to starting your one-to-ones. I really am, very much so. Anya is really interested. Have I said this before in the practitioner program? So we'll be, yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Hannah, how are you?
Yeah, good. I think shoulders is probably the thing that I've struggled with the most. So that felt really nice, but I really struggled to get kind of, I think my shoulders always kind of try and come forward.
Yeah.
My hands were always sort of more facing like that rather than like that. So it's a constant struggle still for me, but the movements really, like, it feels lovely to open up parts of my shoulders through those movements. So yeah.
And how amazing, because when you showed up, when you first contacted me, you, even if you knew, you didn't even know if there was any access. The thought of being able to change that or do something different was practically non-existent for you, and everything had been like seeing people who treated each part of your body as if they were different parts. Yeah, I had someone sign up on the program at the weekend actually, and she was being told, she was being told by doctors she was going with a knee problem, and she was like, but there's a problem with my foot as well. And the doctor said, well, we'll have to send you to the foot specialist for that. Someone's just turned up. I'm not sure why. We'll let them in. We'll have to send you to the foot specialist. I mean, that's just funny to us, isn't it? Because, obviously, when you think about checking into the lower leg bones, and you just know that, the foot and the knee are two different parts of the same thing, aren't they? So we're just coming in from a very, very different perspective. And Hannah, it's so good because your body is so, I can see the improvements. And I see the smile. I just see the smile. Yeah, and the smile is your body smiling. It really is at the improvements that are coming in. Okay, if the person has just come in, Dr. Reed, would you like to say hello so we know who you are? We'll see if they show up, or I'll. Hello? Oh, hello, we can't hear you very well. Anyway, you're welcome to turn your camera on. Anyway, I might just Manu, how are you?
It really was very good for me to do it, and the first time that I really could feel that my pelvis is rocking much with more ease, because I always was in a very much posterior position, and it was difficult to get anterior. And now it's more easy. It's easier for me to go into posterior. It's anterior, posterior. So it was with less effort. that I was able to rock my pelvis. Yeah, that was really, really great.
Fantastic. Who could feel the difference in the space between their right ear and their right shoulder and their left ear and their left shoulder? Who could feel into that?
I could feel it into it. And there was a little tiny difference between the two.
Yeah. Okay. Because frontal plane is a big one, you know, and then when you've got a rotation in there and you've got a height, you're creating all kinds of things. Karen, I imagine for you, and you know, you're welcome to stay on for a bit when we finish in a minute, because I would never want anyone leaving in discomfort without a bit of support from me, okay? Because that's not okay. It's not what people are coming for. But what happens is when you've got a twist and you've got a hike, okay, and so we've got these 3 planes of movement going on, okay, and when we're kind of doing something that's at odds with the positioning of another plane of movement, this is where pain and confusion in the body is going on, right? And things just can't function, that the bones and joints can't work correctly. Yeah, so we try and look at each plane. Anyone else want to share anything? Emily, are you good? What could you get today?
This is a really good one for me to keep going into. I was happy my natural hanging place of my hands was not as far in front of my legs as it used to be, or it was when I previously done this. It was still in front of my legs, but it was not as far. And I could really appreciate the benefit of turning my wrists all the way and then feeling my scapulars engaging, and then actually also doing the opposite and then allowing them to. I was so busy like holding them back. Actually, now I let them come forwards as well, so you can feel the full range. It felt really nice, and then feeling the tension coming up into my neck and jaw and how that's connected, and then not quite having my first met connected as well, was all sort of both ends. So I was like, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah, and it's funny, isn't it, when you turn your wrists and I feel like sort of my weight actually shifting, and I can feel it in my foot in different parts just from that sometimes, which yeah, could be sort of throws you off balance. You don't realize how connected it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. And you know, your body is just the gift that just keeps giving. You know, when you come into your bones and you're using your bones to activate the muscles and activate the connective tissue, and you're giving them the full journey. I mean, we weren't doing the full ranges of movement for all the different planes at all for the shoulders today. Yeah, but at least we gave a bit of a wake up. We went in there, didn't we? We went in there and said hello. Hello. Henry, how are you? Because we know this whole head forward posture thing is always going to impact the shoulders.
Yes, I'm not so sure that I felt necessarily an impact on the shoulders, but I was focusing a lot on every movement that I was making today, on making sure that my head was as far back as I could get it. So possibly what I noticed was that it was easier to do to bend the legs, you know, the ankle, the knee and the hip, doing that flexion stuff. Normally I feel like I have to also, it's somewhat of an effort to keep the pelvis kind of like from tipping forward as well. And it felt easier today, possibly by keeping the head back.
Because we know with the spine, skull up here, yeah, pelvis there. If your skull's forwards, yeah, it's putting strain at the top of the spine, so it's stopping the pelvis being able to access what it does. Yeah, correctly. Okay, that whole seesaw effect, and that's good, Henry, because so Henry was just recording some videos for the practices for the trainee practitioner program, and the head forward is still something that we're working on. So yeah, that's brilliant. It's brilliant feedback, Henry, for your body. Brilliant. Claire, we can't leave you out. Everyone else has said something. How are you doing?
I feel something funny. I feel my top of my body is like the elevator. So you can, it's compressed and I can, oh.
Hey.
So it was really funny.
Okay, so the never-ending journey of what's going on up here for you. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm going to stop recording now. We'll be coming back